Hello guys, Bran here, and welcome to a different kind of video today. Today, I'm going to be doing the add-on tier list for the Xenomorph, who is my main, who I have been able to climb up to number 4 in total tail attacks on Steam across the world. I am the number 4 Xenomorph indie world, so I have actually not made a whole lot of Dead by Daylight content concerning the Xenomorph, despite, being in that top 5 spot. It's because I've aimed most of my, content towards general Dead by Daylight content that could be indulged on upon as many of the Dead by Daylight community as possible, because I just feel like it's better that we talk about stuff we can all talk about. However, with the add-ons in particular for the Xenomorph, I've been seeing a lot of discourse and a lot of really, really bad and really, really awful takes when it comes to Xenomorph's add-ons. Some people think some very, very, very terrible add-ons are really, really good, and some people think some really, really good add-ons are bad, and I don't know where this is coming from, and I'm just going to set the record straight and give you my advice, give you my add-on tier list as somebody who mains this character, who got into the top 5, at least on PC in the world, for this character. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first, before we get into this, I want to describe what each tier means, because S, A, B, C, D is pretty clear. S is the best, D is the worst, but I always add little, brackets below it to kind of expand on things. S tier for me means the best choices, means you ideally should be bringing these add-ons every single game, and by not bringing them, you're having a huge step down from other add-ons, and these are the ones you should be running all the time. A is solid, meaning that in most cases, in most matches, you will be getting value out of these add-ons. Not particularly as strong and as game-changing as the S tier, but if you run these add-ons, that'll be an A tier. You're probably going to get value every single match. B is all right. These add-ons can be good. They're not terrible, but they just kind of underperform, or they need a very, very specific build or perk setup in order to actually work and get value out of. You got to finagle them to get them to work. So they're not bad, but they're not good either. C is This is the zone where it's there's a lot of add-ons that either are counterintuitive to your power or counterintuitive to the way that survivors play against you. There's something about these add-ons that just kind of doesn't function in a way that would give you any sort of consistent value. So they just kind of sit in the zone of yeah, you might get value once every handful of games, but otherwise it's just kind of why would you bring this? There's usually something working against it. D is garbage. And that one should be pretty self-explanatory. D means, hey, don't bring these. Please do not bring these add-ons. They have been made useless, or just flat out are useless for one reason or another. They need to be reworked. They need to be changed into something else. Please don't bring these. All right, so we're starting strong with the Molted Skin add-on. The Molted Skin add-on is after deploying a turret, a survivor suffers from exhausted and hindered for 3 seconds. This is garbage. Hot garbage. Why is this hot garbage? Especially for green? Well, the deal is that the main counterplay against the Xenomorph is the turrets. So you should always be placing down the turrets as survivors. So most survivors are doing this, and the little caveat, the little asterisk here that makes this garbage is that survivors are almost always 90, 95, 99% of the time putting down turrets when you are not around. The way you get value out of exhausted and hindered is if you're actually able to, be getting into a chase with a survivor relatively quickly, so they can't use their exhaustion perks, so they're slower, that sort of thing. However, most of the time people are putting down turrets, they're doing it without you there, so this effect that only lasts 3 seconds, they're just going to be able to recover from before you even get there, if you ever get there at all. So this, especially for a green add-on, this sucks. This is terrible. This is cost inefficient, it's a green, and its effect is literally terrible. Even if it was a brown, I'd probably tell you not to run it. It's a puzzling add-on. I hope they rework this. All right, our next add-on is Brett's Cap. Brett's Cap is whenever a turret is destroyed by any means, all survivors within 16 meters of it suffer from blindness for 25 seconds. This add-on is meh. Blindness is not really that strong of an effect. It'll block windows of opportunity, but unless you're having it spammed constantly by something like Ultimate Weapon, blindness is... Okay, blindness as an effect needs to either be happening often or have a super long duration for it to be even remotely helpful. And Brett's Cap doesn't really do that. Its duration is only 25 seconds, so it's not going to last that long. And it's not like you're going to be destroying turrets constantly, because they only have 4 up on the map at any given point. So it's just, it does not accomplish either of the scenarios in which blindness actually becomes helpful, where it has a long duration or you're getting it often. So Even if it was a brown add-on, maybe I'd be like, oh, well, the effect's kind of bad, but at least it's a brown. But it's a yellow, so I'm just going to put it in meh. I would never run this. There's probably some, like, if you're going for, like, you know, some sort of blindness build, maybe you'd run this build. Otherwise, just don't. All right, for our next add-on, we're going to be doing Kane's Helmet, which is an A, a very, very, very solid pick. This is your archetypical My M2 applies Mangled add-on that a lot of killers have. Obviously, Mangled is a slowdown to healing, which is really, really good. Any sort of slowdown, especially as an add-on, very, very good. Always, always, always worth running. I don't know what else to say. This one's pretty simple and straightforward. Mangled is usually a status effect you have to apply through a perk, but this, if you hit your M2, you hit your tail attack, you get Mangled full free, which is really good. It's always a solid pick. It's never a bad pick. This is always a solid pick. This is always good. And now for something that's not always a solid pick, that being Multi-Purpose Hatchet, which is all right. Multi-Purpose Hatchet is the other half of like the Sloppy Butcher equation, where, you know, Kane's Helmet gives the Mangled, Multi-Purpose Hatchet gets the Hemorrhage. Well, you may be thinking like, yeah, just run both and have Sloppy Butcher on your M2 for free. For a green, Hemorrhage for a green. So you got to think about this add-on. You essentially have to run this add-on with Kane's Helmet to get like the mostest out of it. And that's 2 add-on slots, which is, you know, that's an expensive investment. And it's a green add-on for Hemorrhage. Mangled is so much better than the Hemorrhage effect, and these are the same rarity. So it's like, it's not cost effective. It's not even that great of an effect. You have to pair it with something else. I'm not particular about this add-on. If you're running like an anti-healing build, yeah, I'll like run that. But like otherwise, it's all right. It fits in the niche builds, especially if you're running it with Kane's Helmet. But like it's okay. All right, our next add-on that we're looking at is going to be Cat Carrier, which is our first purple. This is unfortunately going in meh. Cat Carrier grants the undetectable status effect for 20 seconds when a turret knocks the Xenomorph out of crawler mode. So this is kind of like I would actually put this below the breath cap. So there's this for, especially for a purple add-on, as expensive as this is, this add-on has 2 aspects of it that make it kind of inherently bad, that kind of just works against the Xenomorph's base kit. So first off, to even get the effect, it requires you to get knocked out of your power, which is not what you want as a Xenomorph. The Xenomorph, you always want to be in your power as much as possible, because as great as your turret stations and the movement across the map is, your main oppressive tool is your tail attack. So being out of your crawler mode is silly, and you don't want to be entering that position as much as possible. That's not good. And the first thing, which is the undetectable status for 20 seconds, if you don't know this, the turrets come in with a built-in motion sensor that even if you're under the effects of undetectable or some terrorist affecting perk or add-on, the motion sensors have a 41-meter range that tracks you and beeps as you get closer to the survivors. So if the survivors are next to a turret, which they probably are going to be most of the time, because it would be dumb not to put turrets down while you're working on a gen, there's basically like no reason to bring this because, well, hey, they're going to hear you coming anyway. Stealth perks and add-ons in general have diminishing returns on Xenomorph for this reason, but for a purple to have an effect that's not that helpful on your character, and it requires you to get knocked out of your power, like, just, like, once again, the reason it's not in garbage is because, well, you know, you can probably do full stealth builds and kind of commit to the bit, and there's going to be survivors that probably don't know to put down turrets yet still, that have come back to the game or something like that. They don't play all the time. But other than that, this is, especially for purple, that's so expensive for such a double whammy of a bad effect. All right. This add-on, I like it a lot, but I'm starting to hate it because everybody thinks it's the best thing ever, and it's really not. So we're going to be talking about Self-destruct bolt, which I will put in A. Self-destruct bolt is while you're in crawler mode, you increase your vaulting speed by 30%. And especially when paired with something like Bamboozle or Superior Anatomy, this becomes very, very good at shutting down loops and getting you that either that M1 or that free M2. It's a very, very fairly fun add-on. The problem with this add-on and why it's not going to be S or even the top of A is because you, as your M2, as your tail attack, already have anti-window utility. You already do. You already hit people through windows and should be hitting people through windows or baiting them to run back in front of the window and you smack them. You have a lot of ways to deal with windows as the Xenomorph that no other character has. Well, not no other character, but, you know, compared to a lot of characters, you deal with windows better than most of the roster. So running a whole add-on slot just to deal with windows when you already deal with windows fairly well is redundant. Now, you will be getting value out of this almost every game, though, because shooting, like just flying through a window at like 30% faster, like the survivors often will just be caught off guard. Like this is very helpful, specifically, especially if you have Bamboozled, to like shutting down Shack or really strong God windows like Garden of Joy, which hopefully that'll be on soon. Like this is a helpful add-on, but people run it over Kane's helmet and they run it over the S tier choices that we're going to get into here soon. And I don't think it's as good as you think it is, because the other add-ons like full-on Mangled, which is a good slowdown, and the 2 S tier choices, which are going to be very, very helpful in ways that we're going to talk about, and we will revisit this, put a pin in your cap for this one, remember this one. It's just not worth it compared to like everything that's above it. So yes, this is good. You will get value out of this almost every game that you play, but it's very firmly here. People over exaggerate how good this add-on is, and it kind of frustrates me, but yeah. Speaking of which, one of these is the Emergency Helmet, which is our first S tier choice, which increases resistance to staggering from turrets by 35%. Like I said earlier, the entire point of the Xenomorph is to stay in your power as much as possible. What's the thing that knocks you out of the power? The turrets. So any sort of add-on that helps deal with resisting you getting broken out of your power to the turrets is going to be always be S tier. These are the things you should always be running. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when people are like, self-destruct belt's so good you should run it every game. It's like they'll run it over like Emergency Helmet, which helps you even stay on your power, which helps you shut down not almost every loop, but like most loops in the game. It helps you play them in a way more efficient and way more quick manner, because they want to be able to vault through a window faster? No. Take that turret resist. Take that turret resist. Staying in your power as much as possible is the primary goal of the Xenomorph. Don't throw that away so you can vault windows faster. It's just silly. It's just silly. Yeah, especially for a green add-on. Ugh, this is very, very good. Very, very good. You should be running Emergency Helmet almost every game, if not every game outright. All right, so let's get into our first brown add-on, which is the Ovomorph Egg. The Ovomorph Egg. This increases power recovery speed of crawler mode when you're not inside a tunnel by 25%. This is pretty solid. You know, hear me out. Why is a brown all the way up in solid? Because this add-on is literally a brown. Like I said, with my referencing to the Emergency Helmet and the anti-turret add-ons, you should be trying to stay in your power as much as possible as the Xenomorph, so you can always have access to your tail, which is your most powerful tool as the Xenomorph. This, when you get knocked out of your power, it helps you get your power back quicker. If you didn't know, your recovery naturally, when you're not in a tunnel, is 40 seconds when you get knocked out of your power. That's a long time. That's a long time. So shaving down that time is very, very helpful, especially for a brown add-on. For a brown add-on, that is the cheapest add-on available to you for such a nice effect. So like while I would always recommend like everything above it before this, if you're on a budget, if you don't main Xenomorph, if you just kind of like casually play Xenomorph and you just don't have a lot of add-ons and you're on a budget, Ovomorph Egg is it's very solid. Just like I named the category, it's very, very solid. It's a very, very nice quality of life add-on for its price. So while if this was like a yellow or green, it'd probably be an all right. As a brown, yeah, we'll put that in solid just for its cost effectiveness. All right, so we have the Semiotic Keyboard, another purple add-on. This add-on, the repair progression of generators within 16 minutes of a turret can be determined by their intensity aura. This, I'm gonna put in all right. Here's the deal. You're going to see a certain kind of add-on tree begin to start with this Xenomorph as we get more through these add-ons, which are all about like, hey, the turret's placed here, and now you get an effect of some sort of info based on the turret being placed near ABC. So now you get info because the turret's placed here. The problem is the Xenomorph comes in with built-in info. If you didn't know this, within 16 meters of a turret station while you're in the tunnels, you get aura reading on footsteps for 16 meters, as well as noises, any sort of like sounds you can hear through the ground. So you, as part of your base kit, have info, just base kit, like I don't know what else to say. You have info base kit. So there's going to be like an add-on tree here that starts getting into like, well, if a turret's placed nearby this, you get this info, like the Semiotic Keyboard, which lets you know the intensity of gens being worked on. If you just crawl under it, which you're 18 meters a second in the tunnel, so you're fairly fast too, you're going to be able to determine this information. You're just going to be able to get this information like 3 or 4 seconds quicker than you usually would if you were just like, you know, patrolling in the tunnels. And that's for a purple add-on. You know what I'm saying? Like you are shaving off 3 to 4 seconds for a purple. That's not a cheap add-on. So to kind of like have a very, very small buff for such an expensive add-on, it just kind of like, I don't know. It just seems like very expensive for how little it does. So I'm just gonna put it in all right. Like, it's not like, of course, knowing the intensity of gens being worked on across the map is good. That's why it's not gonna be a meh. But like, it's just something that you kind of can do partially anyway as the character. So it's like, why? All right, so our next add-on is the crew headset, which increases footstep detection range while inside the tunnels by 6 meters. Like we just mentioned, we're gonna slap that all the way up here in the all right zone. Like we just mentioned, you do get that 16 meters of natural footstep reading of the auras of footsteps while in the tunnels. This obviously increases that by 6 meters, slapping you all the way up to a 22 meter radius for footstep reading. Now this is a good effect. It's a nice effect. And I think it's just that this is not a bad add-on, especially for yellow. I just think it's like, compared to everything above it, there's just, for a whole add-on slot, it's not really worth it. This is a nice effect. It's cool. It's great. But it just, compared to everything above it, it just doesn't pull enough. It doesn't do enough. It doesn't pull enough weight to be worth running all the time. But like, it's a fun add-on to run like once or twice and go, oh wow, I can see them more far away than usual. But by and large, you're not going to be getting a ton of value out of this match to match, but you know, it is pretty nice. So, all right, our next add-on is Ripley's Watch, which causes turrets to auto-destruct after knocking the Xenomorph out of crawler mode. This is going to be a meh add-on. Why? We're going to keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. You should be trying to stay in your power as much as possible as the Xenomorph. So running an add-on that only gets value based on you intentionally getting knocked out of your power, when you should just be clearing the turrets the moment you see them. You should be M1ing them, you should be hitting them with your tail, you should be getting rid of turrets the moment you see them. If you're not doing that, don't plan for failure. This is a plan for failure add-on. This is like, I'm gonna give myself a buff if I don't do my own job that I'm supposed to be doing. Don't plan for failure, plan for success. Be destroying turrets the moment you see them. Don't run an add-on that benefits you if you get knocked out of your power, because you don't want to be knocked out of your power. So don't do that. Don't do this. Don't fall into this trap. This add-on I see a lot of people say is like, oh, well, actually, this is a little underrated. I love cereal rations. With cereal rations, if you don't know what it does, is that the aura of deployed turrets are revealed to you while inside the tunnels, and it lingers for 3 seconds after you exit. This is a meh add-on. It's a very, very meh add-on, and stop falling for this trap. This is not a good add-on. Once again, like I said, you get aura reading on footsteps for 16 meters while in the tunnels, and you get to hear sounds while in the tunnels for these 16 meters as well. So why are we bringing an add-on that lets us know that there are turrets when that would save you? It's the keyboard all over again. If you spent 3 or 4 more seconds in like running around the tunnels, you would also already have this information. Like, this is redundant. This does a job that your base kit already does. And if you're like, well, it specifically shows me where turrets are. Homie, how do you not know where turrets are? Turret stations are right by gens, and you can see them. They're highlighted on the map for you at all freaking times. And the survivors, when they're carrying these turrets too, are so slow. So they're not going to be carrying them like cross map or anything like that. You basically know where turrets are likely to be at all times without having to see their auras. Turret station by a gen. Survivors on the gen. It's probably either near the turret station or in a tile right near the turret station. It's not that hard to figure out. This is a stupid add-on. This is dumb. This add-on is, I'm gonna lower it. I'm gonna put it even below those. That's stupid. That's a dumb add-on. It's just like, it's not garbage, because like, if you're like not you like, this is an add-on you'll run like the first, like maybe the first time or two you play Xenomorph, and then you're like, I can see where turrets are usually placed now. Okay, yeah, the turrets are always either like in front of the station, around the station, or in the tile next over. Like, people aren't globe-trotting with turrets because you're so slow while carrying one. So this is redundant. This is a completely redundant add-on, and I would even say this add-on sucks. Like, this add-on is probably going to end up at the bottom of this tier list. And this is one of the things that actually inspired me to make this tier list, was people saying cereal rations is so good when it's literally just hot freaking garbage. How do you think cereal rations is good? Play the character for more than 2 matches, and you will have this knowledge for you for free. Stupid. Anyways, Our next add-on is Light Wand, and Light Wand increases the downtime duration of turrets after exiting the tunnels by 1 second. This is hot garbage, and here's the reason why. So this add-on used to be more helpful back when turrets actually had invincibility when you would come out of the turret station. So it used to be a long time ago when the character first released that if you came crawling out of a turret station, you actually couldn't smack the turrets right away until they became active. They ended up doing a quality of life change that buffed it and made it to where the Xenomorph can slap inactive turrets and break them while they're inactive. And that's what this add-on's whole job was to buy more time for you to get out of the tunnel and run by the turret, because it increased its inactive time, but now you can just break it. But like, they didn't go back and adjust this add-on. Like this add-on is a fix for a problem that literally doesn't exist anymore. But they didn't change the add-on, so it's just kind of like it's basically just a dead add-on now. Like this add-on is dead and pointless, completely pointless. It is literally a useless add-on, so they need to give it a different effect. All right, we're going to be getting now into Ash's Innards, which increases the respawn timer of destroyed turrets by 10 seconds. This add-on's not... It just doesn't pull enough weight, right? So, most times in matches of Dead by Daylight, you'll have a good team placing down at least 3 turrets at any given point, which is what you should be doing. Ash's Innards makes it to where a turret destroyed is 10 seconds longer. So if a turret runs out of fuel and pops, it is 30 seconds. So now it would be 40. A turret destroyed by you is going to be 60 seconds. So this will go up to 70 seconds. And while the turrets are in the main counterplay to you, 10 extra seconds is just like, it's not worth the add-on slot. That's a problem. Like, it's just like when you could be running like, you know, emergency helmet, Kane's helmet, like there's no reason you should be running an extra 10 seconds onto that timer. It's just kind of like not worth it. It's not a bad effect. It's just not, it's not potent enough to warrant using it over anything else, really. It's just underwhelming. It's just an underwhelming add-on. All right, now we're getting into our last purple, that being the Harpoon Gun, which is after successfully hitting a survivor within 10 seconds of exiting the tunnels, all other survivors farther than 24 meters away scream and reveal their location. This is all right. There's like, I have a scream build that I run on Xenomorph that I don't use very often because I just realized that like it's just not that good. But you can do like scream shenanigans with like dead mans and stuff like that with like this add-on. It's also just good info, but like, I don't know, you have to run a whole build to get value out of it. Like the info is really, really good, and if you do run a full like scream build that capitalizes off of like knocking people off gens, forcing dead mans to happen and stuff like that, like it can be pretty annoying. It can be a fairly annoying add-on, but like that's kind of it though. Like it's really good at doing one thing. It's niche, it's good at doing, but it literally doesn't do anything else. Like that is all you can do with this add-on, and it's a purple, so it's pretty expensive for that only the one thing it can do. So it's like it's okay. It's all right. It barely sticks in. It barely makes it out of meh. It's like, but it's like, I would throw this in meh, but it's like, sir, what about the scream build? I'm like, okay, fine, the scream build. You're all right. Whatever. You get a pass this time. All right. And now, without further ado, Lambert Star Map, which is reducing the flamethrowing distance of turrets by 2 meters. This is the best add-on in the game for this character, because this is a yellow add-on that is anti-turret. And the reason Lambert Star Map is even better than Emergency Helmet, which I know is a hot take a lot of people don't agree with, is because when you M2 a turret, when you would tail attack a turret, you have an extra cooldown. It counts as a missed attack. So say you're chasing a survivor, you have to tail attack said turret to get out of the way so it won't knock you out of your power. You get that extra slowdown, which means the survivor makes more distance, which makes that chase harder for you. However, if you have Lambert Star Map, for an extra 2 meters, that flamethrower doesn't even see you yet. So it allows you to get closer, which allows you to M1 more often, which has a quicker cooldown, which means your chases are quicker. And the name of Dead by Daylight is having quick chases. So if you can have quicker chases, especially for a yellow add-on, why would you not run that literally every single game? How is that? This is cheap. This isn't a green, this is a yellow. This is a yellow add-on. Their best add-on is a yellow. You believe that? That's crazy. That's very, very cost efficient. Very, very cost efficient. People sleep on this add-on too much. Too much. It's literally the best add-on. People are like, ah, no, emergency helmet is better. Nope. Sure ain't. Sure ain't. And these two in tandem, you should just be running every game. Every single game. There's no reason to not. But besides wanting to try different stuff, there's no reason to not be running these top two in every single game. Just none. All right, so we're getting into our first iridescent add-on now, which is the improvised cattle prod, which reveals the aura of all survivors coming within 10 meters of control station for 15 seconds. It's all right. It's for an iridescent. Once again, we keep talking about add-ons like this. I warned you about this. There's a lot of add-on trees. There's an add-on tree that the Xenomorph has, which is, hey, if they get near a turret, if they get near a turret station, you get aura reading, you get this, you get that. But like I said, you already have that base kit. You already have footstep reading base kit. You already have the ability to hear sounds beneath the turret station base kit. So like, you can get this information by traveling around the tunnels for an extra 3 or 4 seconds. Like, you already have access to this info. It's just going to take you slightly longer to get it. So running a whole iridescent add-on to get info that you could get just at a slight delay, like it just takes slightly more time, that's too expensive. That's too expensive for that. That's way too expensive for something that is already part of your kit. So I don't know. I wish this did something else entirely. This add-on, Parker's Headband, was one I was really excited for when I was first looking at the Xenomorphs add-ons. But in practice, this is a very meh add-on. So if you don't know, Parker's Headband grants a 5% haste status effect after exiting a tunnel for 3 seconds. Essentially, they were wanting to kind of go for something like a Bloody Fingernails on Sadako, where you come out of the TV and then you're super fast and helps you get a quick hit on somebody. The problem here is that 5% haste is not a lot, and then 3 seconds is not a lot. So the speed effect isn't good, and the duration is also not good. Usually you would pick either or, right? Like the speed's super good, but it only lasts like 2 seconds, or the speed's only 5%, but it lasts like 20 seconds, right? But they didn't do either. They just made both the numbers bad. And I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they made both the numbers bad. Because especially for a green add-on, that's terrible. That's very meh. It's very terrible. You can run this with like the harpoon and like, you know, use it to get value out of harpoon, but like, it's just it's a very meh add-on. It's like, there's not really a reason to run this. It's just not good. This next add-on cracks me up because acidic blood is the one that everybody saw in PTB and thought it was going to be like the most OP thing in the universe. Like, this is the thing that's going to be like the most obnoxious thing in Dead by Daylight. It's unfair and it's going to ruin the game. It's going to make the Xenomorph OP. And the reason they thought that is because the effect is that survivors that stun the Xenomorph within 20 seconds of exiting the tunnels while it's in crawler mode immediately lose a health state. So people hear that and they're like, oh gosh, losing a health state for stunning a character, that's strong. But this add-on's actually pretty meh. This add-on's pretty underwhelming. So first off, it has to be when you within 20 seconds of you exiting a turret station. So you have to get in chase and get stunned within 20 seconds, which is not always possible. And second off, you know what's better than forcing the survivor to stun you to get a health state? Just use your tail attack to hit him over the pallet, you idiot. like you already have anti-pallet utility as this character. You already hit people over pallets. It's what you do. You're like Nemesis Jr. Somebody throws a pallet in your face, you just smack him for it. Why are you trying to get stunned? It would literally be more time efficient to just tail attack them from the 4.8 meters as they're going by the pallet. Go up and over the pallet. So you're doing this like big old mind game to get stunned so you can do a health save for something you can already do with your base kit as an iridescent add-on. Like, it's so dumb. And it baffles my mind that people thought this was going to be OP. Like, they thought like, wow, this is going to make this character obnoxious. And it's just like one of the most underwhelming add-ons the character has. So yeah. And finally, we have the cute little drinking bird, which increases the killer instinct duration after exiting the tunnels for 2 seconds. This one, it's another meh add-on. I mean, like, it's nice. It's like kind of like the headset where it's like, yeah, it's nice to have that little bit of extra killer instinct, but like, especially if you're like new to playing the character and you're coming out of a turret station, the killer instinct might be a little disorienting. You may be like, oh, I don't know where that killer instinct's coming from. It takes you a while to look, but that's it. That's all this does. Meanwhile, Overmorph Egg is out here like as a brown, helping you stay in your power. This one's like, hey, I can add like an extra 2 seconds to your killer instinct. it's just a little underwhelming, and it's mostly just kind of like a training wheels add-on to help you learn. It's not actually something that you're going to be bringing after you play like more than like 2 or 3 matches of this character. So yeah. All right, so that is my add-on list for the Xenomorph. Obviously, Lambert Startup is the best, and the 2 anti-turret add-ons are the best. You should be running these almost every single game. Stop thinking Self-destruct Bolt is the most amazing thing in the universe. All 3 of these add-ons are better than Self-destruct Bolt, so stop thinking this is like an S-tier add-on. It's really not. It's really not. The difference between having a chase go slightly quicker at like Shack or something versus being knocked out of your power constantly because you didn't bring these guys is like night and day. Like the value you will get by staying in your power more often is way more than vaulting a window faster. like substantially. So stop putting so much emphasis on this add-on. Stop saying Zero Rations is good. It's literally barely outside of garbage. Like this add-on is borderline garbage. It's like barely eking out of garbage. So like, stop saying this add-on's good. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this helps you guys figure out what to run while playing this character. But on that's gonna be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. But I do upload daily, so I will see you tomorrow. But if I don't, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.